Hello again, Boogeyman here. So here I wanted to do my own ranking of all the Halloween movies. This is my list of the movies from worst to best. Number 13, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. This movie has nothing in it that is remotely well made, except for maybe the lighting. This one is so terrible with no cohesive story, bad characters, bad acting, and overall a very messy experience with awkward editing and scenes that just feel disconnected. A total failure. Number 12, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. After his first movie in this franchise, Rob Zombie thought it would be a good idea to just skip everything that makes Halloween Halloween and make something that is his own. The problem is that you get a very poorly written story and with characters that you don't care for in any way, shape, or form. Number 11, Halloween Resurrection. This one is terrible, but in a way also very fun to watch because you get some unintentional comedy here. You get a Michael Myers that is not scary at all. You get scenes that make Michael not be intimidating at all. You also get characters that just aren't for this franchise. And the stupid idea to make a Big Brother show out of the story just because reality TV shows were popular at the time and add some people that were famous at the time like Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes. But at least it's a fun experience with how terrible it is. Number 10, Rob Zombie's Halloween. This one looks good visually and has a couple of scenes here and there that do work very well. But Zombie did something on his own while also at the same time trying to explain Michael, which is all good if you actually do have a good explanation in mind. But when you just take the typical serial killer route beat for beat, it's just a random story you have already seen before a dozen of times before this was released. The dialogue is also very bad writing for the character arcs too, but does have some scenes that work. Also here, Malcolm McDowell is actually very good as Dr. Loomis, but that later gets destroyed in the sequel. Number 9, Halloween 5. In Halloween 5, the main problems are the characters, the story, and the mask. Michael looks very goofy in this one. The characters barely go anywhere. The story is not that intriguing. We also get abrupt twists that show that the production team didn't know what they were doing at all. This movie is bad in the way that it is actually boring. And by boring, I don't mean like most people throw around the word. I mean that there aren't really any plot points in this that move the story forward in a way that makes sense or that is interesting. Number 8, Halloween 4. This movie has some interesting plot points with bringing in the character of Jamie. It is an interesting perspective that Michael has a 7-year-old niece. We also do get a good character arc for Dr. Loomis and a good execution of Michael Myers as he mostly resembles the Michael we saw in the original in this movie. But overall, it is not a good movie with very slow plot points and the saving grace being Jamie and the twist in the end. Number 7, Halloween 3. Halloween 3 is a beloved entry in the franchise by fans, and I do like the things that are well done here. The movie uses some social commentary. We have good performances from Tom Atkins, and he is the glue that holds this movie together for me. And like I said, I do get what they were trying to do with this movie, but the execution is not there at all. It kind of has an interesting story on the surface, but it is all told in a way where plot points don't happen often enough or they happen too fast. I don't mind not having Michael Myers in this, but you have to have a good story to have this anthology thing you planned. A story that is interesting. This sadly isn't interesting. Number 6, Halloween Kills. One of the goriest entries in this franchise is actually a very fun watch for the kills, some of the character development and many scenes that work very well. There are spots with bad dialogue and there are also spots with very stupid plot points, but overall this is a good entry in this franchise. Number 5, Halloween 2. This is not as good as the original, but an entertaining enough story, and it is a direct continuation of the original on the same night. which makes it work as the second part of the original, and you can see the original and this as one big movie. There are flaws for sure, like with the gore being amped up a bit and the focus being there, while the original managed to scare you without it. Number 4, Halloween Ends. I saw this and have done a review on this. It is a solid movie with flaws. Far from the worst movie in the franchise like many fans would make you believe. It really works as a concluding chapter to the Gordon Green trilogy. The issues I have with it I have taken up in my review of it. Number 3, Halloween 2018. This is a very good comeback for this franchise. A very needed update on the franchise after what we got with Rob Zombie's 2 movies. It is a well told story with a tight screenplay. When the news came out that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride were co-writing and Green was directing, many had some objections, because the duo was only known for comedies mostly at the time. But they did a very good job with bringing a legendary franchise back. Number 2, Halloween H2O. This is one of my absolute favorites in this franchise. It was also the first Halloween movie I saw as a kid. This movie is fantastic for how it brings back Jamie Lee Curtis. Sure, it does take some elements from Scream with it taking place at a school and the main characters are students. But this is a well directed and well written movie with a big surprise by the end when Laurie cuts Michael's head off. Sure, the mask is bad, but it doesn't really take away from the many parts that are great in this movie. Number 1, Halloween 1978. What can you say about the original movie that has not been said before? A lot actually, and I might do a video essay on it in the future. But this movie is still unbeaten as the best movie in this franchise. John Carpenter's direction is amazing. To take the budget they had, which was $300,000, and to make this movie look and be executed the way it is, nothing short of magical, still stands as one of the best slashers ever made. So there you have it. This is Boogeyman's ranking of the Halloween franchise. I might do other rankings in the future, but I thought why not do my first ever YouTube ranking for the Halloween franchise. Thank you for watching.